she turned to you a little bit after the fever
I
score.
didn't answer no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough.
And again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America.
They tried to tear me down because they knew they couldn't rise to my level. Now I'm still here. Where are they?
Just enter the league, she broke out into it. With every logo, 3 every. Dime on the break, every step back in a defender's face. Caitlin has been flipping the script. She does not carry herself like a rookie. She carries herself like she owns the place. And that swagger, that confidence, it has not just caught attention. It has shaken the foundation. Because here is the truth. A lot of these WNBA vets are not welcoming Caitlin Clark. They are trying to survive her. You can see it in the fouls harder than necessary. In the interviews, it was colder than expected. In the glances, the body language, the unnecessary chirping after whistles. This is not a competition. This is panic. The league sees what is happening. A newcomer is outscoring stars, outselling veterans, and outdrawing entire franchises in ticket sales and viewership. That is not just success, that is dominance. And with dominance comes fear. Not the fear of physical pain or a bad game. The fear of being replaced, of losing relevance, of being outshined on your own turf by someone half your age and already twice as popular. So let us pull back the curtain and examine what is really happening. We are breaking down the players who have taken shots verbal and physical and what their actions reveal about the pressure. Caitlin is putting on their legacy. Because when greatness walks in the door, the ones clinging to the spotlight start throwing shade. The WNBA is changing, and Caitlin Clark is the reason. When a veteran talks about reality, it usually means something is bothering them.
Reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
It was the quote heard around the league, a subtle jab dressed as wisdom. But let us be honest, this was not mentorship. This was a defensive maneuver, a Hall of Famer, a 20-year WNBA icon, trying to remind the world and herself that the league still belonged to her era, except it did not because Caitlin Clark was not rattled. She did not blink. She kept hooping, dropping dimes, drilling threes, and dominating the headlines, while Taurasi watched her numbers fade into the background. And what looked like a confident statement at the time in hindsight feels more like a preemptive strike, a warning not for Caitlin, but for everyone else. Do not crown her yet. That is what Taurasi wanted us to believe. But months later, the facade cracked. The edge in her voice dulled. Suddenly, that same veteran who talked about grown women and levels had a different tone.
She was a college kid.
College kid back then.
Not
Now
anymore.
we got to get professional.
Caitlin's grown.
Caitlin has grown.
Boy, Caitlin's amazing.
Yeah, Caitlin has grown. So we're excited for that.
That is not just a change of heart, that is survival instinct kicking in. Because when someone rewrites the rules in real time, when she passes you up in popularity, impact and performance, you have two choices. Dig in or give in. And Taurasi, she chose the latter. This was not a welcome speech. It was a flare sent up by a legend who saw the future storming through the front door, wearing number 22. And let us not sugarcoat it. They are scared, not scared of Caitlin the person, but of what she represents. The end of an era, the rise of a new face of the league, and the painful truth that their spotlight is getting dimmer by the day. Taurasi's warning shot was not just a soundbite, it was the first tremor of fear. There are moments when a player says something that does not sound like a jab until you really listen. During a media interview, Breanna Stewart was asked a simple question about Caitlin Clark, the kind of softball question that usually gets a polite, respectful answer, but instead of praise or diplomacy, Stewart delivered a response that turned heads and tightened.
Does Caitlin Clark need a championship to be considered one of the greats in women's college basketball history?
Yeah, she does.
That was not a passing comment. That was a boundary being drawn, a challenge being issued away for one of the league's biggest names to remind everyone that her path to greatness was not built on hype. It was built on banners. And yet beneath the cool tone and veteran calm was something else in security. Because Caitlin Clark is doing what Stewart never had to do, and it is carry an entire league spotlight as a rookie. She is packing arenas, breaking viewership records, and dominating the conversation. Daily not years into her career, but from the jump statistically, Caitlin is already outperforming Stewart. In efficiency, creation, and impact, she has a higher usage rate. She draws more defensive attention. She is the engine of her team and the league's biggest draw. So what does a seasoned MVP do when a rookie starts shaking the walls? She leans on legacy. She moves the goalposts. She clings to the one thing Clark does not have yet, a ring. But that is the thing about fear. It does not always come loud. Sometimes it is quiet. It sounds like gatekeeping, like cool dismissals and passive lines drawn in the sand. Stewart was not just protecting the idea of championships. She was protecting her era, because deep down, even she knows Caitlin does not need a ring to take over. She already has. Sometimes it is not about what is said. It is about what is done.
Right? She's competitive and she wants excellence and she wants it now, and that's what makes her great. Foul call on Alicia Clark, and that is her second. Put Caitlin Clark to the stripe. Oh yeah, that's a foul.
When Alicia Clark delivered a blatant smack to Caitlin's face, there was no apology, no explanation, just a cold, deliberate act that spoke louder than any post-game quote ever could. That was not basketball. That was frustration. That was fear. Because Caitlin was not just playing well, she was becoming the story. And for some veterans, that is a hard pill to swallow, especially when the spotlight shifts so suddenly. After the game, Alicia did not backtrack or clarify. She doubled down and when asked to weigh in on the league's obsession with Clark, her answer was not just dismissive, it was defensive.
I just want to hear your thoughts about just the whole conversation surrounding Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you have people that have never spoken to a single player in this league and asked us our thoughts. And you're out here making assumptions based on behalf of these notions that you're creating in your head, these storylines you're creating in your head. And so I don't pay it any mind. Charles Barkley has never talked to any of us. All these people that are on these platforms talking, they've never talked to us. And so for me, it's noise.
The tone said it all. The message was not just aimed at the media, it was aimed at the moment, at the wave. Caitlin brought into the league. Alicia Clark, a seasoned vet, was not just brushing off narratives. She was pushing back against a reality that did not include her in the headlines anymore. She did not want to hear about Caitlin. She did not want to talk about Caitlin. She wanted the noise to stop. But the problem is, it is not noise. It is a movement. And in their matchup, the scoreboard told the truth. Caitlin dropped 20 points, dished 9 assists, and controlled the game. And Alicia just scored 5 points on limited shots. The impact gap was undeniable. What we saw was not just a hard foul or a frustrated interview. It was a veteran being forced to watch a rookie pass her by in real time on national television. That slap was not just contact. It was a message. And deep down, Alicia Clark knows exactly what is coming. There is a certain brand of veteran toughness that gets worn like armor. Trash talk, extra bumps, subtle elbows after the whistle. It is not about defense, it is about sending a message. You are not welcome here. And that is exactly what Victoria Vivians tried to deliver when she matched up with Caitlin Clark.
She comes off a pin down here, wide open.
We might need to update the graphic now.
From the opening tip, Vivians came with a chip on her shoulder. She played physically. She played loudly. She played like she had something to prove, not to win the game, but to put the rookie in her place. But the problem is, Caitlin Clark does not have a place. She makes her own. Vivians tried everything. Words, contact, little acts of intimidation, but none of it worked. Clark did not react. She did not retaliate. She just kept hooping, scoring, facilitating, controlling the pace, dictating the game. And when reporters asked Caitlin about the physicality, about the tension, about the constant hits she takes night after night, her answer was not bitter, it was real.
Yeah, I think just being competitive is who I am. It's what I've done my whole career. I think at times there's ways I can probably channel it a little bit better, but that's just basketball at the end of the day. No, that's never gonna change. I'm never gonna lose that. I feel like I'm getting hammered.
That last line, feel like I am getting hammered. It says everything. She knows what is happening. She knows she is being targeted, and she is still not backing down because Clark is not here to be liked. She is not here to play emotional games with veterans trying to protect their turf. She is here to win. And that is exactly what she did. Vivian's brought the fight, Caitlin brought the finesse. And by the end of the game, all the pushing and chirping meant nothing because Vivian's got outplayed, outclassed and outscored. She wanted to shake the rookie. Instead, she just confirmed what the league is slowly starting to realize. You cannot rattle someone who already knows they belong. Kahleah Copper does not get rattled easily. She has been through playoff wars. She is a finals MVP. She is known for playing on the edge with emotion, with fire. But when she went head-to-head with Caitlin Clark, something felt different. There was not just tension, it was personal. From the jump, Copper came out with energy, trying to assert herself, trying to remind everyone that she was the alpha in the building. And for a while it looked like classic Copper physical, vocal, intense. But then Caitlin started cooking quietly, efficiently. And that is when the cracks started to show.
Leaking out behind the defense. Copper taking it at Clark, who just had the foul her. That was a smart foul there by Caitlin Clark, just her first. And it would have been...
Diamond did not go for the ball. She was not trying to contest. She made one decision and one decision only. Hit Caitlin Clark. It was a full-speed collision on a fast break. No play developing, no shot attempt in motion, just a blatant body check that sent Clark flying to the floor and the crowd into stunned silence. Diamond did not follow up, did not plead her case, did not look back. Because in her mind, the point had already been made. This was not just about sending Caitlin to the floor, it was about trying to bring her back down to earth, a physical attempt to reestablish hierarchy. To remind the rookie that there are rules in this league, that the spotlight has to be earned, not handed over. But that is where it all fell apart. Because Clark did not lay there, she did not whine, she did not even argue the call. She popped up, looked Diamond in the eyes, and walked straight to the line. No drama, no retaliation, just the kind of cold, calculated response that cuts deeper than any shove ever could. And in that instant, everything flipped. The moment Diamond thought would shake, Clark only confirmed she could not. You do not shake a player who has been hunted every night since her first tip-off. You do not intimidate someone who already knows they are the most talked about athlete in the league, and you definitely do not stop her with a single foul. All Diamond did was expose herself, show the world how quickly defenders are running out of options, because Caitlin is not just beating teams on the scoreboard, she is beating them mentally. She is setting the tempo, owning the spotlight, and daring defenders to try something, anything to knock her off her game. And when their only answer is a reckless foul that is not physicality, that is desperation. Diamond wanted to deliver a message. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese did not just arrive in the WNBA as rookies, they came with history. History forged in March. Madness, fueled by media narratives and supercharged by millions of fans who picked sides and never looked back. But the difference is Caitlin moved on Angel, she carried it.